Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So, we're kicking things off today with something, well, incredibly familiar. It's an object so mundane you might literally have it sitting in a fruit bowl on your kitchen counter right now. But, as you're going to see, hidden inside its soft, unassuming skin is this profound, almost unbelievable biological secret. Today, we're going on a deeply fascinating sort of zoom in, zoom out adventure. It's a reflection on a hidden world that might just completely change how you look at the natural structures all around us. So, let's just dive right into the mystery.
So, have you ever eaten a fig? I mean, it's a super simple question, right? You probably know that unique kind of earthy sweet taste, the soft exterior, and of course that satisfying little crunch hidden inside every bite. But we kind of need to rethink everything we know about this seemingly ordinary fruit. Taking a moment to really reflect on what a fig actually is, well, that becomes our starting point for a truly wild journey. We're about to look way past the surface of nature and see this immense complexity that's literally hiding in the palm of your hand. Okay, get ready for the first mind-bending fact. You know those tiny little seeds inside the fig that give it that signature crunch? Yeah, they aren't actually seeds at all. They're hundreds of individual tiny fruits trapped inside a thick, closed sac. Technically speaking, biologically, the fig itself isn't a fruit in the traditional sense. It's an inverted flower. The flowers of the fig tree never bloom outwardly for the world to see. They bloom entirely inside that thick casing, which immediately presents this massive glaring mystery, right? If the flowers are completely hidden inside a closed, impenetrable shell, how in the world do they ever get pollinated? Well, to solve this, we've got to transition into a completely hidden world. See, because the flowers are permanently trapped in the dark inside that shell, the wind can't reach them to blow pollen around. Your regular bees and butterflies, they can't just land on their petals. So to understand the secret mechanism that keeps the entire fig tree species alive, we have to look incredibly closely, way, way beyond what the naked eye can comfortably see.
And this brings us to some absolutely astounding research from entomologist Jared Bernard over at the University of Hawaii. He points out that every single species of fig has a single specific species of wasp that pollinates its flowers, and absolutely no other insect can enter. I mean, just think about that level of biological exclusivity for a second. It's a strict, highly exclusive one-to-one relationship between this massive, sprawling tree and a tiny, almost invisible insect. The tree relies on one specific VIP guest to survive, and nobody else is getting on the list. But how does the wasp actually get inside that completely closed casing? Well, through sheer evolutionary adaptation, the fig has developed what is essentially a microscopic keyhole. Just imagine the bizarre precision required here. Right at the base of the fig, there's an opening so impossibly small and so uniquely shaped that only that one specific species of wasp can even fit through it. It acts like this perfect biological bouncer, physically barring entry to literally any other creature on Earth. Now, the wasp's journey to get inside is totally fascinating, but I gotta warn you, it's also a little morbid. So first, the female wasp squeezes through that microscopic hole, and entry's so incredibly tight that she actually often loses her wings and antennae in the process. Once she's finally inside that dark chamber, she goes straight to work. She pollinates the hidden flowers, lays her eggs, and then, well, her life mission is over. She dies right there inside the fig. Her final act of life ensures the continuation of the tree. But here's the crazy part. The tree doesn't just leave her in there. It actually produces a specialized chemical to dissolve her completely. Okay, stop. I know exactly what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, wait, am I eating dead wasps? The answer lies in ficin. So ficin is this powerful chemical enzyme naturally produced by the fig itself, and its entire singular purpose is to completely break down and dissolve the remains of the deceased wasp, digesting the protein entirely. So you can relax, for sure. You aren't eating dead bugs. The enzyme leaves behind absolutely no physical trace of the insect, only the sweet, mature fruit that we eventually harvest and eat. All right, so we've been super focused on the microscopic so far, right? Looking at these tiny keyholes, invisible wasps, and crazy unique enzymes. But now let's zoom out from the microscopic scale to the macroscopic. This tiny, invisible, deeply hidden process creates what we can rightfully call the forest's life source. Because the ecological impact of this bizarre little death and pollination cycle, it stretches out across massive, jungle-wide scales, literally affecting entire continents. To understand why the fig is such an ecological heavyweight, we look to tropical biologist Christian Ziegler. He explains this really remarkable phenomenon. Basically, the exact same species of fig trees can flower and fruit at totally different times.
So unlike most other plants in the forest that fruit all at once during a specific narrow season and then just stop, figs are entirely asynchronous. Because of this, there is almost always a fruiting fig somewhere in the forest in every single season. It provides this incredibly reliable, literally life-saving food source when absolutely nothing else in the jungle is available to eat.
And to firmly ground this in the scientific literature, there's a 2020 paper by Professor Ray Ming in the prestigious journal Cell. He notes that fig species are a crucial food source uniquely capable of feeding a vastly diverse range of frugivores, fruit-eating animals. Because they fruit year-round, fig trees are structurally vital to the entire tropical forest ecosystem. Biologists actually call them a keystone species. Without the fig, the broader ecosystem would literally collapse into starvation during those lean, dry seasons. So just how many species rely on this reliable cycle of food? 1,200. Let that massive scale sink in for a quiet second. 1,200 different species of birds and mammals depend almost entirely on this continuous biological engine. I'm talking everything from sprawling troops of monkeys to vast flocks of toucans to entire colonies of fruit bats. They all survive the harsh seasons purely because that tiny solitary wasp squeezes through a microscopic keyhole and gives its life inside a dark, hidden flower.
Let's just slow down the pace for a moment here and really reflect on what we've just uncovered. When you map this entire process out, from the microscopic lock and key of the insect all the way up to the survival of over 1,000 different animal species, you really start to witness the state of perfect harmony in nature. And it naturally forces us into a profound philosophical reflection. Like, how could this incredible, deeply entangled mutual dependence even exist in the first place?
I mean, consider the awe-inspiring scale at play here. 800. We're not just talking about one or two localized types of figs doing this in some isolated patch of rainforest. There are 800 completely different fig species scattered all around the world. And remember that strict rule we learned earlier? That means there are 800 unique species of pollinated wasps. 800 distinct, hyper-specific biological locks paired absolutely flawlessly with 800 exact, perfectly tailored biological keys. It creates what is basically the ultimate biological paradox, a fascinating riddle of nature. The fig cannot produce seeds without the wasp, and the wasp cannot live without the fig. One literally cannot exist without the other. They are fundamentally bound together in survival. I really want you to ponder that for a second. How did these two wildly different life forms, completely unaware of each other's conscious existence, emerge across the eons, so perfectly, so intricately matched, to ensure each other's survival? And this brings us right to the ultimate question that our source material poses. Did this perfect, seamless fit happen purely by blind coincidence? Did 800 distinct botanical locks and 800 distinct entomological keys accidentally form totally independent of one another and just somehow manage to find each other in the vastness of the natural world? Or were they designed together? This perfect metaphor invites us to really reflect, shifting our focus from pure biology over into metaphysics, asking whether this blind, perfect coordination actually points to a grand, overarching design in the universe. Now, the source text takes this incredible biological reflection and views it deeply through a spiritual lens, which brings us to a reflective oath. When you quietly observe the sheer complexity, the kind of elegant violence, and the ultimate harmony of this microscopic and macroscopic process, it honestly entirely changes how you read ancient spiritual texts that reference the natural world. Things that might seem super simple at first glance are suddenly imbued with this unimaginable depth. Take, for example, Ayah 1 from Surah At-Tin in the Quran, which simply reads, "By the fig and the olive." In this ancient text, an oath is literally sworn upon the fig. It elevates this seemingly ordinary object to a place of special, profound spiritual significance. Our source imparts this beautifully, highlighting how the text gives extraordinary, elevated weight to what we might normally just casually view as a common, everyday snack. Which leaves us with this final, truly profound question to reflect upon today. Was this ancient oath made with a fundamental, deeper knowing of the microscopic keyhole, the dissolved wasp, and the 1,200 species they miraculously feed? When we look at a simple fig sitting in our kitchen right now, we aren't just looking at a fruit anymore. We are looking at a perfectly tuned, magnificent, self-contained ecosystem. It's a powerful, quiet reminder that there is always, always a deeper layer of wonder hidden right beneath the surface of the ordinary world. Thanks so much for reflecting with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.